When the egg with the formed hard shell finally descends from the fallopian tube into the cloaca, the budgie will take it very carefully drop into the nest. She will continue to lay an egg every other day, and there can be up to 10 in one laying. Most often, however, it will be between 5 and 8 eggs. While laying eggs, the female takes sand with minerals and fishbone much more often than before. This is due to the fact that large amounts of calcium are used to form the egg shell. The bird feels this, so it constantly takes calcium into the body. The male does the same while feeding the female. The gift of nature is the fact that he knows what his females needs. In case the bird was poorly fed, and the egg will be less supplied with the necessary substance, so the embryo will not be able to fully develop. That is why it is important that we always feed birds very well. When it is in the phase of laying eggs, the diet should be strengthened. After laying an egg, the budgie stays in the nest and begins to lie on it. Sometimes it does not sit immediately on the first egg, but after laying the second or third. Throughout the incubation period, the male stands on the entrance to the nest and invites the female to come out to feed her. The female from time to time turns her eggs with her beak to keep it evenly warm. While the female is laying eggs, there is no reason to peek into the nest and disturb the bird. The chicks will hatch only from 2 or 3 eggs, if the female sits on 5 or 6 pieces. However, some females can lay 8 or 10 eggs, and the same number of chicks can hatch. During incubation, the female emerges from the nest only to feed and stretch a little. Embryo from the yolk under the action of heat begins to develop immediately. Incubation lasts from 18 to 21 days, depending on the room temperature. Only the female sits on the eggs, and it is extremely rare for the male to replace her briefly. Most males avoid entering the nest. After 10 days of incubation, the shell of the fertilized eggs acquires a dull color. Unfertilized eggs can be removed, but care should be taken. Egg candling is an easy way to check budgies or any bird eggs for fertility. You can use a flashlight from a cell phone. If the female leaves the nest after she has already started laying eggs, it can be suspected that something is wrong inside. It is rare for a female to refuse to lay an egg. If we still have such a case, such a female is no longer for mating and should be excluded from nesting, and her fertilized eggs should be saved by laying under another female. Budgies don't mind touching eggs. However, frequent touching of the nest causes the budgies to leave it with fear and then stays in it too long hunger. If she leaves nest to feed, as soon as she notices that we're nearby, she will immediately return to the nest. The budgies very selflessly defends her nest, eggs and youngs. She does this by waving her wings. In such situations, it can accidentally to damage, so it is better to spend at least 3 weeks at the time of incubation and 2 after hatching, do not disturb the female, no matter how tame she was. Budgies are usually very good parents, and you will not need to intervene to help them rear their young. Female will happily incubate another bird's eggs if such a thing proves necessary. She has a strong sense of territory in her nest box, but is unable to count her eggs or recognize individual ones. A loss or a gain will pass her by, and she will simply carry on brooding until the baby has hatched. If a budgie female ejects an egg from the nest, it's unlikely to be accidental. Eggs are discarded in this way if she sees them as unwanted intruders in the nest. This is sometimes down to her instinct for the things not being right, in the case of an infertile or damaged egg. Sometimes another budgie will throw out eggs. She just wants a nesting place for herself. New things in the cage can be stressful for the bird, new birds as well. It is best for a couple to have their own cage before breeding.